to Evan's Juggling Lab. This episode, we'll be testing the what are they called? You know, Groan Tubes. While most information on the toy is limited, they've become popular, but only known as the toy that goes, Now, they were allegedly invented in 1960 in Japan, but were only brought to North America in 1970, thanks to Mattel. Thank you, Mattel. And I dare say, I do believe they are sublime! Fun fact about these Groan Tubes here, they were actually sent to me by one of you lovely viewers thanks to our newest Twitch segment, Mail Time. That's right, I've finally gotten a P.O. box, and we got these bad boys in there. So, if you have something that you want to see me juggle and I've been putting it off because I haven't gotten the objects yet, and you're like, I want to see Evan juggle it, you can just send them to me, and then I'll have no excuse to not juggle them. So yeah, P.O. box is currently open, and the info's in the description. But for now, let's see if we can test juggle a bit. Oh, they do juggle quite nicely. I do have to say they are light, uneven, and silly, but they do juggle great. Although, I'm curious. Oh, 4 juggles? And 5 needs a little bit more practice. Groan Tubes get a 10 out of 10. But now it's time for Drop a Bit. Well, the good news is that over studio floors, it appears these guys are completely indestructible. There is no damage whatsoever, not a single cracked piece of plastic or nothing. So, that gets about a 10 out of 10. However, there's something much scarier we must test. Because this is hard plastic. How will it survive? On concrete. Like I said, this is hard plastic, so I have a feeling it'll survive that. Yup. But maybe not 10,000 drops over time. Although let's speed this testing up a little bit. Yeah, they're pretty durable. I might stand corrected. The only damage is some slight nicks along the edges right here, and that's it. Pretty good. Well, even if I am right and eventually they do break, honestly, they still get a 10 out of 10 because, well, they're cheap and easy to replace, just like me. But now it's time for Trick Battalion. Here's the thing. These are simply sticks with slight weights inside of them, which means you can do literally any club trick pretty easily. Like, look at that. It juggles just the same as clubs. See? Which means they will get at least 5 out of 10. But to get those other 5 points, we gotta find something unique and creative about them. So let's see if we can do something. Trick 1, trying to make them make sounds while juggling. That is really hard. There's 2 ways to do this trick. The first is to start juggling, catch one backwards, and it does it on its own. Watch this. We're juggling, full flips. Here's a half flip with the blue one, and it makes the noise. Wait, can I do it with all of them? That is harder than it looks. I had to lock in for that, but it's very silly. Option 2 is to hold it and make it make noise. Don't drop on me. It's really hard to keep track of what side is which, so maybe if I like discolor one of the sides, it'll be easier, but it works. The first one's easier though. I think I've discovered an even sillier one though. I have a theory. I'd call that creative and unique, and definitely weird. It's a new trick though. I call this next one the Now the real question is, can I use them like devil sticks? Wait. Devil sticks' hand sticks have a little bit of rubber on them, so they actually, you know, stick. Well, not really, they don't stick, but they stay a little bit longer, so maybe this'll work. That counts as a trick. But I do feel like it'd be cooler to only do it with the other ones, but that's gonna take a lot of practice. You know what? I think that's a pretty solid test. Bad example, but I do think these bad boys get a solid another 10 out of 10. They have just enough creativity with the sound, the balances and whatnot. They have good tricks. But even more important than tricks is joke potential. Go long! I have no idea what sport that'd be. Oh, it's football. I figured it out. Anyway, now it's time for joke potential, because comedy comes before the juggling, so arguably it might be even more important. Of course, it is now our job to determine just how many jokes we can make about a groan tube. So, I'm gonna give myself about 10 minutes with a notebook and see what I can come up with. 10 minutes are up. And I've come up with about a page and a little bit of joke notes, which equals 7 different jokes. And the problem with these is they're a little bit vague. It turns out that groan tubes don't have a lot of material for puns with them, which is ironic. Because one of the first things I wrote down was the fact that it's a groan tube, and my favorite kind of joke is a groaner. So, we could technically do any bad or dad joke, and it's technically a groan tube joke, as long as we play our cards right. So because of that, I think it should definitely get a high rating because, again, there's a lot of jokes that go along with it. The other possible jokes I came up with were mime potential things, like, for example, go long. That one was actually pretty good. You can even do spin, spin. It doesn't, oh. Apparently I'm not good at that one yet. But there is mime potential in there too, which means that it should get a high rating. But when it comes to actual groan tube puns, I came up with 3, and they've all made it into the act, so you'll see them then. Although technically I did actually come up with 4, the only problem is that was a raunchy joke, so it might be on the Patreon page in the future. We'll see. So when it comes to joke potential, I honestly think they have to get an 8, but I'm annoyed about it, because I feel like it should be jokes about groan tubes themselves, and not just adjacent jokes that technically count in the category because they groan. Or rather make the audience groan. So, yeah, 8 out of 10. But I'll be making this noise. You feel me? And you know what? I did actually manage to get 2 TikToks out of them. I hope you're ready for a groan tube juggling joke. And 1 raunchy Patreon video. So, not bad. Which is a great segue to talk about the Patreon page. So if you don't know, I have a Patreon page at patreon.com/EvanTheJuggler, which is the place to be if you want every single exclusive Evan the Juggler video, or anything really. We've got TikToks that were too raunchy for TikTok, blooper reels, all of my old Twitch VODs, early access to YouTube videos, and so much more. So if you want to help support the show and help me make sillier things, check out the Patreon page. And thank you, patrons, for making this possible. On with the show. Anyways, now it's time to see if I can combine all these jokes and all those tricks and maybe make a comedy juggling act. I'll see you on opening night. Nah, I'm just kidding. Those have been on the ground. That's disgusting. But you may have heard throughout that last part of the show that I had a couple heckles here and there. I'm looking at you. But of course, those heckles were that my show included a few too many dad jokes. Or groaners, if you will. Yeah. Well, just to satiate you hecklers, I think we should lean into that. Get it? Lean. So if you don't like groaners, now might be a good time to go to the washroom.
All right.
Just don't fall in. So anyway, this next prop is actually a surfer's favorite juggling prop. You know why?
Why?
Because they're totally tubular. Okay, now some of you may actually remember these toys from when you were kids, but you may notice something. Nobody actually remembers the name of them.
Oh.
But we all do know the name, so I'm gonna get you all to say it with me, okay? Okay, get ready, get ready. They're known as the tube that goes... You know, right? I'm not kidding. Say pretty accurate, right? Of course I am kidding. They're not actually called the tube that goes but they're actually called Groan Tubes. And something interesting happens once I start to juggle them. And that is that they actually start to sound like my normal juggling acts. See? Look at all those groaners being told. Oh, here's another one. Does anyone here need to communicate with the world's smallest whale? I gotcha. Now, people always wonder why Groan Tubes actually make this noise. And, well, you'd be groaning too if people kept flipping you over. But here's the thing, Groan Tubes are definitely perfect for an audience participation section. So, I need each of you to think of a noun. And I'm gonna try to make a groaner about it. So, think of a noun. Just break the fourth wall really quick. I don't actually have an audience, so I'm gonna go to a Google random generator and we'll see what our first noun is. All right, who's our first volunteer?
Me.
Oh, you there! What do you suggest?
Noodles.
Noodles. Okay. What do you call a noodle that doesn't belong? An impasta. Not bad. All right, let's see. Who's next? Oh, you over there. What's your noun?
Goose.
Goose. Okay, does anyone have an easier one? I'm just winging it up here. That was just a this. That one wasn't that good. You could say I almost blew it. All right, one more. You there. What's your noun?
Tweezers.
Tweezers. Do you know when the best time to use tweezers is? When you're in a pinch. All right, that's enough of that. Let's move on to a grand finale. And to do the best grand finale possible, let's move on from those groaner jokes and try a cool juggling trick. Yeah. Oh yes, this next trick is truly a feat. I am going to attempt to juggle 5 Groan Tubes. Hope they don't get defeated. Okay, fine, one more groaner trick. But this trick is truly difficult. Let's see if I can pull it off. 5 Groan Tube juggling right before your very eyes. 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, come on. Oh, that's meta. Oh. Ta-da! And there you have it. We have officially made another comedy juggling act. Yeah! What do you think? Did you groan at my jokes? I sure hope so. That was the point. But honestly, I do think that act has a decent amount of potential. I always want to add more audience participation into my acts, and this is a way to do it, and also keep me on my toes and make sure I can actually come up with jokes on the spot. I'm curious to know how that would work in person, because who knows, I might blank. But then I can always go to the, I guess I blew it joke, so I just have to make sure I grab the blue one. But now it's time for the official ratings of Groan Tubes. Juggle ability, 10 out of 10. Drop ability, 10 out of 10. Trick potential, 10 out of 10. Joke potential, 8 out of 10. Which makes an overall rating, an overall average, 10 out of 10. Not bad. And that officially does it for Groan Tubes. So if you have an object you want to see me test its juggle ability very sciencely, leave it in the comments below. And with that, thanks for watching Evan's Juggling Lab!